Hello again and welcome back to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard video. Today we're going to be doing another sort of logistics based video, not necessarily a tactical video, but more on real life logistics of collecting an Imperial Guard army. Now we've obviously talked about how do you move around massive amounts of models in the past. You know, I've talked about have a good army case, have a good system in place when you, especially if you're going to a tournament. But there's a step before that, which is amassing the army. And the comment that's kind of prompted this is when I put up the Blood Angels vs Tyranid battle report, and someone said it really puts into perspective how much more difficult it is to collect a Imperial Guard army in comparison to a Blood Angels army. Because the Blood Angels army had like 30 infantry and 5 tanks, not a huge amount. And, you know, an Imperial Guard army of equivalent size, I mean, my 1500 point list, not even 2000, my 1500 point list has 150 infantry and 3 battle tanks, plus characters. So, obviously, that is quite a challenge in itself, but it's a financial burden. If you want to collect an Imperial Guard army, you want to collect a competitive Imperial Guard army, lots of infantry, then you need to be able to afford it. And every penny that you can save is an extra penny that can go towards buying another man, or buying something else that you might want. So I'm going to focus this video on just a few options that I know of, and what I will say is legal options, because there is always, if you want to go down that route, there is always third-party casters. A lot of people get recast models from China, which are Games Workshop models, but they're made out of resin. That is illegal. Whether you do that or not doesn't bother me. I don't condone it or condemn it. It's whatever you need to do. I know a lot of people in Australia have to do it because it's physically impossible for them to afford to collect an army otherwise, but whatever. We're not here to pass judgment, only the Inquisition can do that. What we're here to do is look at some legal ways that you guys can start amassing these infantry hordes that you need to get your hands on. And don't worry guys, I will be including links to these options that I'm going to present to you. I'll include links in the description. So, the first thing we're going to be looking at is how do we want to amass these big waves of infantry, especially conscripts. Now, many of you may already know of this first option that I'm going to present, which is the Snap Fit Cadian models. So, Snap Fit Cadians are basically you can, rather than buying a 10-man box of infantry from Games Workshop, they actually offer an alternative. So the 10-man box, you get 10, we're looking at Cadian shock troops here, for example. It's 18 quid, you get 10 guys. That's not a great deal. It's, you know, for 7 quid more, you could get a box of Space Marines, and, you know, they come with a lot more options. You just get like a Voxcaster, don't even get options for your sergeant outside of Las Pistol Chainsaw. You get a couple of grenade launchers, a couple of flamers, not a huge amount of variety. And besides, a lot of, especially if you want these guys for conscripts, you don't want any of that extra shit. You just want riflemen. And the cheapest way to do this from Games Workshop is to buy these Snap Fit Cadian models. And these are small boxes of 5 men, and they are £6. So if you want to get 10 riflemen, it costs you £12. Basically, you're saving 33%. And if you go to a third-party retailer, for example, one that I've used in the past, I found them to be perfectly acceptable. This isn't a plug. I'm just saying the one that I've used in the past is Triple Helix Games. That's I don't know if they sell outside the UK, but they sell in the UK, and they generally give 20% off. So you would be getting even more money off. You'd be getting like £1.25, so you'd be paying what, £4.75 for 5 Cadian models. That's pretty good. There's other ones. It's like there's Wayland Games as well. Though I've heard that's got a bit of a weird reputation, so I don't know whether I can recommend them. But yeah, what I'm saying is you've got these cheap options that you can buy straight from Games Workshop, 6 quid, 5 models, and if you're willing to maybe wait a bit longer, because it can sometimes take a bit longer for your order to go through on these third-party retailers, maybe you have to wait a week or two before you get your models, rather than like, the same day in the shop. If you want to, you can get 20% discount that way. Now, the advantages and disadvantages of these snap-fit models. Number one is they're all mono pose, basically. There's a very slight variety in poses in what you get, but generally speaking, they're mono pose. You have no, they come body, they all come in two pieces. One part is the body, head, legs, everything, and then you just stick the rifle on him and he's good to go. So, not much variety in pose. Not the greatest quality of miniature. It's a really weird one, but if you're looking face on the miniature, the left-hand shoulder pad is really weird. It doesn't look like a normal Cadian shoulder pad. So you've got to accept that as well. And like I said, not the best detailed models either. So you are paying for what you get. But like I said, that is a cheap, legitimate option straight from Games Workshop if you want it, that you can get. That will save you money. Now, another option you can get, which I bet some of you probably won't be expecting me to say, is this is also straight from Games Workshop, is if you look at some of the other regiments out there, outside of Cadian, outside of Katachan, you can actually get some really good deals straight from Games Workshop. An example of this is the Steel Legion squad and the Vostroyan Firstborn squad. Not Mordian Iron Guard, unfortunately, not Valhallans, and not Talon Desert Raiders, but Vostroyan Firstborn and Steel Legion are both actually a really good deal. You see, they cost 20, you get 10 men in each box, they are metal, so you're going to have to, if you're not painted metal models before, it's not a huge difference, to be honest, you just make sure you give them a base coat. But so it's 10 men, but you paid £20.50. Now some of you may be saying, well, why would I want to pay more for 10 men? Well, the reason you may want to pay more is because each box comes with a heavy weapon. So if you buy a Steel Legion squad, you get a missile launcher with the squad. If you buy a Vostroyan Firstborn squad, you get a heavy bolter. Now, each squad comes with a special weapon. The Vostroyan squads come with a flamer, and the Steel Legion squad comes with a grenade launcher. There aren't any options in that box. That's what you get. You get 10 men, you get 2 as a missile team, 1 as a grenade launcher, 1 as a sergeant, and 6 riflemen. There is no options outside of it. But that is actually cheaper than buying a 10-man squad and a heavy weapon box. So if we look at, what I mean by this is, a 10-man Cadian shock troop squad is £18. If you then wanted to buy heavy weapons for them, you'd have to buy a Cadian heavy weapon squad box. That's £24 for 3 heavy weapons. Essentially, £8 per heavy weapon team. So if you add 18 and you add 8, you get 26. Now obviously, you're getting 2 more men. You know, that would equal 12 men to the Steel Legion 8. But that's still not a, you're missing out on 2 riflemen. It's not a big deal. If we take it, it's like, what, £1 per rifleman, roughly? You're still looking, if we take £2 off, you're still looking at, what, £24? £25, I would say. Or, get a Steel Legion box set, get some fucking cool looking models, some different looking models to the endless waves of Cadian shock troops, and get a heavy weapon team. And you can't go wrong with missile launchers these days, and grenade launchers are pretty good too. Vostroyan one's a good one as well. Vostroyan one, you get the heavy bolter, which, as we all know, is the king of heavy weapons for Imperial Guard now. And the flamer, which, well, whilst myself, I'm not a big fan of flamers, I can definitely see having lots of flamers present in your first line infantry squads, the ones that you expect to die, to be a good option. I mean, 8 points for a heavy bolter, 7 points for a flamer, 15 points, that's 55 points. Actually, is it 51 because you only pay 4 points to the heavy weapons team, don't you? 51 points for a frontline squad that puts out a lot of DACA and is going to be able to eat some enemies in Overwatch. Not a bad option. And again, you're saving money and the models you're getting look cool as anything. They look amazing. Unfortunately, like I said, it's not I'm a bit of a sucker because I obviously have Mordian Iron Guard. You don't get that great sort of option dealio with the Mordian Iron Guard, because when you buy a Mordian Iron Guard set, it's again £20.50, but you just get 9 riflemen and a sergeant. Same with the Valhallans. The Talon squad, you actually do get, I would say, technically speaking, the Talon squad is also a good deal. You save 50p, because you get 10 guys, but you get a sergeant with a plasma pistol, and you get a rocket launcher, and you get a plasma gun, which is 50p less than if you went Cadians with a heavy weapon team. All I'm saying, all I'm saying. But generally speaking, the Talon one isn't a good deal. It's if you want to spend the same amount of money and get different looking guys, go for it. So there's sort of the options that you can get straight from Games Workshop, and they're the options that you can build them and paint them how you want to your scheme, and that's straight from Games Workshop. Like I said, I've already mentioned recasts, and I will also mention now third-party miniatures. There are third-party miniatures out there which would do very well for 40k, but the reason why I'm not going to go into too much detail on them yet, I'll probably do a separate video on them, but the reason I'm not going to go into too much detail yet is because if you're a newer player, because this video is kind of aimed at newer players who want to, get into the guard and build up a good force and get lots of infantry straight off the bat. Obviously, some of you older veterans, you probably know most of these tricks, these logistical sort of shortcuts already. But, anyway, hopefully you've learned something new. But the reason I'm not suggesting third-party miniatures necessarily in this video is because if you're a newer player, Games Workshop, and you're probably going to be playing your games down at your local GW, maybe your local independent club, but most of the time it's going to be a local GW, and they don't like you using third-party miniatures in there. They don't like you using them at all. They will refuse. They will say, "I'm sorry, you've got to put those miniatures away, or you can't play." And they may even just tell you to pack up straight away and leave. Because maybe you think that's a bit of a dickish move by them, but at the end of the day, you are basically, just advertising their competitors right under their nose. They don't, I can understand that. I can understand that a lot. And again, you may, in some friendly local, if you're going to a friendly local club where they don't sell any models, they probably won't care if you use third-party miniatures. But if you're playing in a friendly local store, again, they kind of might feel a bit funny about it, because generally speaking, you're going to be buying third-party miniatures outside of their store. They're not going to want you to turn up with your brand new third-party miniature army and everyone's like, "Oh, well, they're cool, I'm going to go and get loads of those," because they may think, "Oh, well, now I can't sell those models." It's less likely to be a big deal in a friendly local store. It is going to be a big deal in a Games Workshop. So that's why I'll cover third-party miniatures in a different video. One other thing to consider, so we've covered sort of buying directly from Games Workshop, we've sort of covered recasters, sort of covered third-party miniatures. The last option one of the last options you can consider is buying second-hand models. Buying second-hand is perfectly okay. Absolutely perfectly okay, and no one, not even Games Workshop, will mind too much if you bet playing second-hand models in their store. Number one, most of the time they won't even know that they're second-hand. Most of the time they won't know. Number two, you're still using Games Workshop models in a Games Workshop. But yeah, second-hand models, the advantages and disadvantages of them are the quality. You're buying most of the time you're buying something that somebody else has already built and painted. And that generally means they've built it and painted it badly. I bought a lot of second-hand models, lots of plastic Cadians online. I've yet to see any decent ones. I often do a lot of rescue work on them. So you will often be able to get a good deal. For example, from eBay. You go on eBay, you type in Imperial Guard. Don't even type in Imperial Guard Infantry. Just type in Imperial Guard. And you will get lots and lots and lots of second-hand squads available. I've done it right now, just before this video. I did type in Imperial Guard Infantry, just because obviously we're focusing on infantry at the moment. First squad, first link, it's linked to a squad of Cadians. These ones are actually relatively well painted, actually. First time I've seen that. It's got some cool tiger camo. Obviously you guys can't see this, but yeah, that's a 10-man squad. Free postage, $16.99. For a well painted squad, you're saving £1. Or the next one, 10 Cadians, $10.50. Free postage. Next one, $10.95. 10 Catachans, free postage. Big job lot of Cadian infantry here. £30. How many did you get? Looks like 50. I'd say at least 50 infantry. At least. Could be going on 60. There's heavy weapons in there, special weapons in there. You don't really care about the quality. You just care about getting bodies on the ground. Oh, here's another one. Catachans. Wow, that's like at least 50 Catachans, £30. People are always selling Imperial Guard on eBay. Always. Because for a long time they were so shit. I used to have a rule when I was telling people to get into Imperial Guard. I had a rule which was, if you're buying a tank off eBay, never pay more than £20 for it. Because you could get any... everyone was selling Lehman Russes on eBay, and most of the time you were getting them for £15. I picked up an original Hellhound from eBay. Original. Big metal armors and everything. I think it was like a tenner. So it's like less than half price. So definitely my number one advice, if you're building up an army, if you've got patience, if you want to save money, and you're willing to do a bit of rescue work, bit of repainting, stripping down the model of its old paint, painting it up again, definitely would say scour eBay daily, almost. Don't have to buy everything, don't have to buy something every day, but keep an eye on those deals daily. And often you'll pick things up that you didn't really need, but they were a good deal, and you've sort of saved, you've maybe spent more money one month than you meant to, but you're not going to spend any money the next month, and overall you save money. Example of this is, I was just scouring eBay for some Black Templar bits. I came across 10 scouts, I think for £15, free postage. That's half price. That's less than half price, technically. I just bought them straight away. I'd already bought 10 scouts and 10 marines already that month, but I'd paid full price for those. So I was like, well, time to save some money. So yeah, always scour eBay. I've picked up a lot of good deals on eBay. A lot of good deals. Number one piece of advice, don't buy pro-painted models. Often, they ain't pro-painted. With enough time and effort, you'll be painting better. But anyway, I don't really want to be going on and on about this too much. Yeah, that's basically it, guys. That's my recommendations for how to build up a nice big blob of infantry. Because obviously infantry are great for 8th edition now. And like I said, if you want the best quality and build up your army with your guys, probably best doing it from Games Workshop. And there are some options out there. You've got Snapfit, you've got Steel Legion, you've got Vestroium. If you're not too bothered about them being your guys, you're a bit of a cold, calculating Imperial Guard commander, a bit like myself, to be honest. Then you can hoover up the infantry for great deals on eBay. I mean, the two that I just found then, that was 100 infantry, 50 Cadians, 50 with special weapons, heavy weapons, 50 Catachans, at least 50. Both job lots, £30. That's 100 infantry for £60 right there. If you bought that straight from Games Workshop, you'd get 30 infantry. So that's all I want to say. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. I hope it's going to save you lots and lots of money. And if you guys have got any recommendations where you like to get your models from for cheap, building up those conscript blobs, then please, by all means, put it in the comments. Share it with your fellow Guard commanders. 8th edition, Imperial Guard are rocking 8th edition at the moment, but you know that when the other codexes start coming out, things are going to get harder for us. We've already seen Space Marines get some amazing toys. We've already seen Chaos Grey Knights get some amazing, amazing toys. It's only a matter of time before everyone else gets brought up to our level, and it's going to be our vast reserves, our vast stockpiles of models that are going to allow us to adapt and change in the coming storm. No matter how the meta might change, if you have a vast arsenal of models to draw upon, you will always be able to win games. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Please leave lots and lots of comments, and I'll see you guys next time.